They cause mid-season meltdowns and off-season excuses. The Justin Kinner Show, powered by pure, unfiltered sarcasm. And, oh yeah, Fall Help Energy Drink.
The Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. We welcome you back. Joe Flacco might be good to go for Sunday. We'll talk about that more in detail coming up around the corner. Earlier today, Urban Meyer in Columbus, again, ahead of the Ohio State-Penn State matchup coming up this weekend, tomorrow, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, of course. Urban Meyer was just point-blank asked, with all of the high-profile coaching vacancies that have now taken place, if there was ever a time for Urban Meyer to come out of retirement, this would be it, if he had ever planned to. When I remember when he initially retired from Ohio State years ago, when he was pressed on the matter, he kept saying, I believe I have coached my final game in college. He believed that he had coached his final game. He would never come out and say, he would never come out and actually say that, I'm definitively done. I'm going to stay retired. He ultimately came out of retirement, take the Jacksonville job. So now when he was asked earlier today, and there's no audio for this, it was just a clip that was making its rounds from a local news station over in Columbus. The reporter just simply asked him if he was, had any interest in coming out of retirement. And by the way, do I believe him? I don't know. You could, figure that out for yourself. But he said he has no interest in coming out of retirement right now. No interest. The LSU job is open. Florida is open, which is a former school of his. And I think that right now, Urban, for him to come out of retirement, I don't know if it's going to be something new. I think it could be something familiar. I really felt like we were trending towards an Ohio State Urban Meyer reunion towards around this time last year. Ohio State had lost to Oregon in mid-October. Vibes weren't great. And then you add the fact that they lost to Michigan. It truly felt like we were close to getting Urban Meyer back in the very, very near future. So all of that happens. All of that goes down. And so he says he's not interested. All these jobs are open. Obviously, LSU, the UCLA job's going to be open. Florida's open. And it's funny because all these high-profile jobs are open, and you would think that all these high-profile names would be jumping all over the place to get to these said situations. But Matt Rule, who was kind of speculated and rumored to be going to take the Penn State job, his alma mater, he re-upped on a big-time extension with Nebraska yesterday, so he's not going to go there. Another big extension happened, of course, with today, or not really today, but just as far as letting people know that he's not interested. Dan Lanning, I thought that was a very interesting one. Dan Lanning had no problem coming out and saying that the only way that he's going to leave Oregon is if he stops winning, which would ultimately be basically saying you'd have to fire me for me to leave Oregon. So I found all that fascinating. The fact that I think it's more shocking that you're not seeing more high-profile names to these jobs. Now, I'm also being a fool too because it's the middle of the season. It's the middle of the season. It's not as if, this is the off season. I'm very curious to see if all the guys, but like Dan Lanning didn't sign an extension, or he did last year after the great year he had. But like Rule, he put his money where his mouth is. Matt Rule could have kept pushing this off and pushing this off. I think the only high-profile name that's ultimately going to leave at the end of this season is probably going to be Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is kind of talking in circles. He's not definitively giving any yes or no responses. To Urban Meyer's credit today, Urban Meyer, who is retired, said he has no interest in coming out of retirement to take any of these high-profile jobs. So Urban Meyer's not going to come back into coaching. Nick Saban has said Miss Terry will not let him. So no Urban Meyer, no Nick Saban. Dan Lanning staying put. Matt Rule's not going anywhere. You could possibly go get a Lane Kiffin. The high-profile names just aren't there, which is what led to our conversation yesterday. And by the way, don't be surprised Colorado's going to open up, and I don't think Colorado's a good job. I would be very shocked if we see Deion on the sideline again in 2026. I mean, I got to ask yourself why. He's not a good college football coach. He just hasn't been. You could talk about the fact that, okay, he went to Colorado. He started winning some games. He started winning some games, but he didn't start winning games. no high-profile victories. They retired his son's jersey. I mean, that's going to be his biggest accomplishment, was conning a program into retiring his son's jersey, who didn't beat one top 25 team, who was only one game above 500, didn't win a bowl game, a high-profile bowl game. I mean, what are we doing? So another opening is going to be there. Just the high-profile names are not jumping ship the way that we thought. Maybe that changes in the offseason. Maybe we see something there. Whenever that time comes. But I did find that very interesting that Urban Meyer came out today and said no interest. Rob is watching on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Excuse me. Rob, appreciate you chiming in. Rob says, I think he wants Ohio State back one day. I do. I really like, that's exactly where I thought it was trending in that direction. When Ryan Day lost to Michigan last year for the 5th straight year, that's exactly where I thought this was trending. I truly thought that Ohio State was going to get knocked out early in the playoff. When they bludgeoned Tennessee, I said, okay, well, they were at home. But I also would not have been surprised if Ohio State would have got beat by Tennessee last year, just because of the mental hangover. I think that's what makes that national championship even that much more impressive when you think about it. When you think about the fact that where Ryan Day was after that loss to Michigan, you remember that dazed and confused look on his face? He looked like he saw a ghost. I mean, he just looked dead inside. It was unbelievable and hard to watch, the game and the post game. The whole field's burning down around him. You have players fighting. You have Sawyer that's manhandling a coach who's trying to calm him down. Ryan Day sitting there playing. Somehow, some way, that guy got that entire locker room to believe and buy in and rallied the troops, and they go on to win the national championship. But what I thought was going to happen, I thought that they would look sluggish against Tennessee and win an ugly one, and then get beat by Oregon in a blowout at the Rose Bowl. That's not what happened. They kicked the doors down against Tennessee in game 1. Blew the doors off in the Rose Bowl in game 2 of the playoff. Won a classic in game 3 in the semifinal against Texas, and we all know what happened against Notre Dame. They hoisted up the national championship trophy. So when it's all said and done, Ryan Day secured his spot. But I thought that, man, if Ryan Day and the Buckeyes would have lost an ugly one in the playoff, I could have seen maybe a quick trigger be pulled on moving on from Ryan Day. And I thought that's where I thought that was going to open up the door for an Urban Meyer reunion. I think Urban Meyer's so in love with Ohio State still. I can't, even if, let's say he does go back to Florida. He doesn't talk about Florida the way he does about Ohio State. He just doesn't. And if you're Florida, do you want him? I mean, because when he was in Florida and he won those national championships, he was all about the Gators, right? That was like his first big time gig. He had major, he had some solid coaching runs before, but he had everything he accomplished at Utah, Bowling Green, Utah. Everything was about getting to that level. And then he won the national championships at Florida. A lot of messes were made, of course, but the championships wiped all that out. I would have a hard time if I'm a fan of Florida. You may think you want Urban Meyer. I don't know if I want a head coach that is more passionate about a program that's not the one he's running. And that would be the hard time. That would be the hard time I would have as a fan buying into Urban Meyer if he's coaching my team and it's not Ohio State. I don't think Urban Meyer could care for any program any more than what he does Ohio State. And I joked, I think that the only person that was pissed off about Ryan Day getting that team to click in the playoff, I think Urban Meyer was so conflicted. He loved watching Ohio State dominate, but man, he was pissed because I think he truly thought he was this close. Who knows? But like I said, if I'm a fan of Florida, or if LSU does everything that they can to get Urban Meyer to go there, if I'm a Florida Gator fan, I don't know if I want Urban Meyer. And it's not because I don't think he could help us win, but it would just feel weird. You know damn well at his age, with all the health issues, coming off of the disaster coaching run in Jacksonville, and if you even want to call it a run, he didn't even make it through the first month of the season. You know deep down he does not have any care in the world about your team to the level of which he does Ohio State. I mean, think about like a relationship. Why would you marry someone that you know is still in love with somebody else? That's what Florida would be doing if they hired Urban Meyer. And not just Florida, any team. If LSU tried to do everything they could to get Urban, if Florida, if Penn State, if any of these jobs tried to do whatever they could to get Urban Meyer, I think that's kind of dumb because there's no way he will have the same passion for your program that he does, of course, at Ohio State. So it is what it is. Ron Howard, rumors of John Gruden linked to the Gators. I'm a big John Gruden fan. John Gruden, the only thing that John Gruden would have to do is just get a good coaching staff. I mean, that's any coach, yes. But John Gruden, with everything he's done, this has been very strategic, what he's done at Barstool. John Gruden is a football genius. And what John Gruden had to do after going back to the NFL and being unceremoniously booted out of the NFL, his fault, by the way. I'm not going to act like the things that popped up in that email were okay. We can't just sit there and act like that's not a big deal. But the bottom line is he had to go into recovery mode as far as his image. And I think the plan for Gruden has been to get to college. His person, like to pair up with Barstool Sports was such an odd pairing, but it's been fascinating to watch. I find his personality beyond intriguing. I find him beyond entertaining. And I think the reason that he went to Barstool Sports was to connect with the younger audience. And I think that means when he's out on the recruiting trail, a lot of these younger recruits are going to know just damn well who he is. And they would have known who he is no matter what. But I think they're going to be able to kind of have a rapport with him that they maybe wouldn't have had he not done this run with Barstool. I could see him going to Florida, LSU, Penn State. But Ron, I could see it being Florida. I think Florida would probably make a lot of sense as far as that goes. Who knows? We'll ultimately see what happens when it's all said and done, but nonetheless. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. But yeah, Urban Meyer earlier today was asked about that, and he quickly dismissed it. Absolutely not. He has no interest in returning to coaching, nonetheless. All right, so the question I have, Urban Meyer says he doesn't want to coach again. Do you believe him? 937-518-1410. I actually believe him this time. I don't think he wants to coach. And I think that a coaching cycle that features Florida, LSU, Penn State, those all have Urban Meyer vibes. I could see Urban at all three of those schools. So the fact that he's turning it down and has no interest just means I don't think he is going to come out of retirement. I think there's one school and one school only that he would ever coach or come out of retirement for again, and that would be Ohio State. And to Ryan Day's credit, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Do you believe Urban Meyer? 937-518-1410. He says he has no interest in coaching again. It's a very simple Friday question. Do you believe him? 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
Doctors recommend regular exercise to manage stress. We recommend that you just watch the Bengals defense. Same result. Elevated heart rate, yelling, "I can't do this," and the occasional tears. The Justin Kinner Show, your official cardiac clinic for the Bengals.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the
1410 ESPN Radio, where you can argue about sports without worrying about getting uninvited to Thanksgiving.
And we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Friday, 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So what we're talking about, Urban Meyer, in his podcast earlier today, they're in Columbus, obviously. Big new kickoff tomorrow, Ohio State, Penn State, noon kick. 10:30 coverage begins right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So Urban Meyer's in Columbus doing his podcast. And one of the local news reporters had asked him if he had any interest in any of the high-profile jobs that was out there, and he said he had no interest, none. Now, again, it's all about whether you believe Urban or not. He's always such a truthful individual, but I actually believe him this time. I truly believe he doesn't have interest in coaching right now. I mean, look, the bottom line is if Florida is available, LSU's available, Penn State, these are all the caliber of jobs that if Urban was to ever come out of retirement for, it would be one of these jobs. And the fact that all three of these are open all at the same time, and this isn't these jobs aren't good enough to get him out of retirement, I don't think there's any job good enough except one, and that job's not going to be open anytime soon, and that's Ohio State. I truly feel like he was mentally preparing himself to have to take over Ohio State if he had to, if the Buckeyes moved on from Ryan Day, because it felt like it was trending that way. I don't know about you guys. I truly felt like it was trending in the direction of the Buckeyes moving on from Ryan Day last year after the loss to Michigan. But, hey, there's that whole winning a national championship thing that kind of helps, save the day. So the other point I wanted to make is if I'm one of those high-profile teams, I don't know if I want Urban Meyer as my next head coach. Urban Meyer's brand is Ohio State. Urban Meyer had more success at Florida, but his brand is Ohio State. Urban Meyer gushes over them. How could you have a head coach at LSU who is more in love with the Buckeyes than the very program that you're running? I don't think that would go well in old Baton Rouge. I don't think it would go well in the Swamp if Urban's running the Florida Gators and they know that he's not as passionate about them as he is about Ohio State. Like, I don't know how that marriage works. How could you be married to somebody who's in love with somebody else? It just doesn't make any sense. And Penn State would be the most awkward. Penn State, Ohio State, I wouldn't trust, if I'm a Penn State booster or anything, that if Urban's my coach, that on the week that they play Ohio State, that he's going to match it with the same intensity that he would if he wasn't so in love with them. So do you believe Urban Meyer when he says he has no interest in returning to coaching? Ann Anderson on Facebook says the only job Urban wants is Ohio State, but Ryan Day is not going anywhere until he loses to Michigan again. Hartline is gone and Patricia is gone. Too much experience and too much demand for either of them to stay as assistants. So I agree. And by the way, the only thing I disagree is Ohio State could lose to Michigan again this year. Ryan Day ain't going anywhere. That's going to be a talking point. It'll be the first time we haven't been able to criticize Ryan Day since around this time last year. I mean, it's November basically. So yeah, Ryan Day did a great job of, once they lost to Michigan, get all your hate out on him out now, because from there on, he hasn't lost a game. They haven't lost a game since then. If they lose to Michigan again, and I don't anticipate that to be the case, but they were a heavy favorite last year. We know how that ended. I don't think that Ryan Day being fired if he loses to Michigan this year. I don't suggest he do it, but I'm just saying, it's going to be one of those things that just go win another national championship and a lot could be forgiven. That's for sure. Nonetheless, what up? Jordan Earhart. Jordan, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in and checking in. Let's go to the phones. 937-518-1410. Do you believe Urban Meyer when he says he has no interest in coaching again? Let's go to Ryan. Ryan, thanks for holding.
Thanks for taking my call, Justin. I kind of with you. I totally agree. I don't think he has any interest in coming back. I think he left for the same reason Saban did. NIL, I don't think he wants to deal with it. Yep. And I think it's been, his ego kind of took a hit with Jacksonville. Yeah. I think all the stuff in Columbus with what did he know? What didn't he know about his assistants? I think all that dust is settled. And if he takes a job somewhere, that's all just going to get brought back up.
Yeah, I think it'll be brought back up. And then if he doesn't have success early, it'll get louder. Winning
Correct.
Cures all. But, you also got to wonder too, does he doubt himself? It would stink if the lasting memory of Urban Meyer is what happened in Jacksonville. At least Nick Saban, if he sticks to his word and doesn't return to coaching, he at least went out in the college football playoff semifinals. Like, he at least went out in the playoffs, right? Like, in a winning season, they had a shot. So it's crazy. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around that. That's how Urban Meyer's legacy is going to wrap up. I just don't see how it goes any other direction. I don't see him coming out of retirement unless it's for the Ohio State job, and that ain't opening up anytime soon.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for taking the call.
Anytime. Appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you. 937-518-1410. Do you believe Urban Meyer when he says he has no interest in coaching again? We'll continue taking your calls on that. I do want to get to the Bengals. A lot of health updates. Trey Hendrickson, Logan Wilson, Joe Flacco. There's a lot on the line this Sunday, and by a lot on the line, I mean, well, the whole season. The whole season's on the line coming up this Sunday against the Bears at Paycor Stadium. So these injury updates are very, very important as far as how that's going to impact the Bengals heading into the weekend. Troy on Facebook. What up, Troy? Troy says Urban is so toxic the way he left OSU and the Jags debacle. Man, it's hard to argue with you that he's toxic, but like I feel, man, it's tough because I feel like Brian Kelly's toxic. Brian Kelly's toxic. And Brian Kelly has not done anything Brian Kelly has not been involved in anything like what Urban Meyer has been involved in. And you could also say he hasn't won a national championship like Urban Meyer has. Like that also, the reason Urban was able to get away with a lot of stuff is because the amount of national championships that he's won. But Brian Kelly feels toxic when he leaves a place. Like, will you ever do a let's honor Coach Kelly night? I don't think they will. LSU won't. Notre Dame, is he going to go down as a legendary coaching figure in Notre Dame? I don't think so. The reason I bring that up is because Urban may be toxic, Troy, and I can't disagree with you, but Urban is welcome back at every place he goes except Jacksonville. Urban Meyer is welcome back at Bowling Green anytime, at Utah anytime, Florida anytime, Ohio State anytime. So I agree with you. It's just a weird. Urban's toxic, his oddness with everything is just different than everybody else's. If you truly are toxic, nobody wants you back or around. I don't know if Urban's toxic. He's wanted everywhere he goes. Jacksonville's the only place he wouldn't be welcome back. It's the only place he didn't have success. His entire coaching career, there's only one stop he didn't succeed, and that was Jacksonville. Everywhere else, it was fine. So it's a weird argument, Troy. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying I disagree. I agree with you and disagree with you at the same time. Urban's just his own little category of toxic, if you will. Jordan on YouTube says Brian Kelly had the whole cherry picker incident. Yes, I know that. Yep. Yeah, you got me on that one. I'll just sidestep that one. That's for sure. Rob on YouTube says Urban's not going to take any crap from players. No doubt. Yeah, it's wild. So I asked, do you believe Urban? I guess the next question is we go to commercial break, and we're going to talk to Bengals coming up here in a moment. Do you want to see Urban coach again? It's not that do you believe him when he says he's not going to coach again. Do you want to? I think college football is better with him. I think college football is better with Nick Saban, better with Urban Meyer. You can't convince me that college football is better off without those two. So yes, I want Urban Meyer back in college football. I want him at Florida. I want him at LSU. I think Penn State would be very intriguing. They'd all be intriguing. I want Urban Meyer back in college football, I guess is my point. Do you? 937-518-1410. We also got Bengals talk around the corner as well. We got a lot more to dive into. Don't go anywhere. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits.
Thank you for calling the Browns Emotional Support Line. Press 1 if you're blaming the refs. Press 2 if you're blaming the quarterback. Press 3 if you're blaming the head coach. Don't worry, we've got you. 1410 Wing AM, the only station where it's safe to scream into your radio.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Spite Electric smart home products make everyday living simply smarter. Add color to your home's exterior with LED outdoor string lights. They're perfect for holidays or get-togethers, and they can be scheduled to automatically turn on or off.
And we are back here on a Friday, the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Speaking of Frickers, Keith Byers and I will be live at Frickers coming up this Sunday for the Sunday morning tailgate show. So if you want to come on out again, coming up this weekend, this Sunday morning tailgate show from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. It'll be myself and Keith Byers reacting to college football Saturday, and then getting you set for all things week 10 of the NFL season, or week 9. Well, what week is it in the NFL this week? I'm all over the place. It's week 9. That's wild. Week 9 kicked off last night, and last night's game has a huge impact on the Bengals game coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that more coming up in a moment. Shaw chimed in, said Urban isn't returning. We know. He said that today. They asked him. He said he has no interest in returning. I said before, doesn't make any sense for Urban to return unless it's for the Ohio State job. That Ohio State job will not be open. That Ohio State job will not be open. And, unless Ryan Day all of a sudden wins his second national championship this year and decides, all right, my work here is done and whatever. That's not happening. I could see him winning a national championship, but I don't think he's gone through all of this just to be done, even after back-to-back national championships. Ryan Day is the man right now in college football. So that's not happening. But like I said before, Urban's brand now is all about Ohio State. Urban Meyer, like the pint house that he owns and has in Columbus and has multiple locations. It has the 7-0 marker on there for his record against Michigan. It's all his Ohio State, art in there. Like, everything's about Ohio State. When he does College Game Day, it's the OH. It's all about Ohio State. That's what it's always about. How could Urban realistically take a job elsewhere? If I'm a Florida fan and he comes over and takes over the Gators, I can't take him serious. He's in love with somebody else. How am I going to take him serious? So that it is what it is. Like, if he goes to LSU, once again, he will never love LSU more than he loves Ohio State, and Ohio State's the dragon you have to slay. So it's just one of those, it doesn't make any sense. So is what it is, but we'll see what ultimately happens nonetheless. But Urban said he's not interested. I believe him. There's only one job that makes sense for him, and that job ain't coming his way anytime soon. All right. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. One more time this Sunday, Keith Byers and I, Sunday morning tailgate show in Centerville. Joe Flacco. The big question now is whether or not he's going to be ready to go for Sunday. He addressed the media today. He said he feels fine. All of the coaches said that it's one of those things. All of the coaches have basically said that, okay, he looked exactly how they wanted him to look on Thursday for a guy that has the situation he's currently in. That's kind of where we're at the moment. So he's listed as questionable. Sean Clifford has been signed from the practice squad by the Bengals as their extra quarterback just in case. So that would be the backup to Jake Browning if ultimately Flacco does not play on Sunday. And Trey Hendrickson is doubtful. I guess he didn't practice today. And then, of course, all the mess that's going on right now with Logan Wilson, but I don't even think that's that big of a deal, mainly because of the fact that Logan Wilson, even if he is healthy, he's not playing to begin with. Logan Wilson has a podcast. I didn't know that, but Logan Wilson on his podcast addressed everything today. The bottom line is, he said he wanted to retire a Bengal. I mean, I don't know why anyone feels that way. I don't know why you, and that's not a shot at the Bengals. I don't know why anyone feels like they want to retire with any team that they're at, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Tom Brady is arguably the greatest player of all time. Didn't finish with the Patriots. Won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. He'll always be known as a Patriot. But the bottom line is he didn't retire with that team. Emmitt Smith didn't finish with his team. Jerry Rice didn't finish with his team. The legendary Baker Mayfield isn't going to finish his career with his team. It is what it is. Joe Flacco. I mean, that's what's crazy about all this. He's saying this on a team that has a quarterback in Joe Flacco that ultimately will never be viewed as better than Lamar Jackson, but might actually go down as the quarterback that accomplished more than Lamar Jackson if Lamar can't ever figure out a way to win a Super Bowl. And that guy didn't finish with his team. So it was dumb as hell for Logan Wilson to say, I wanted to retire with the Cincinnati Bengals. No, then that's idiotic on your end. That was never going to happen. No one's ever retiring with their own team. Simple. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen anymore. So it is what it is. But last night, 28-6 the final. The Ravens get a win over the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. Lamar returns, and Lamar just does Lamar things. Lamar Jackson, in his first game back in about a month, threw the ball 23 times, completed 18 of those, 204 yards, not a gigantic number through the air, but 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. All of a sudden, the run game is back. Lamar Jackson only ran the ball 5 times for 14 yards. He wasn't a threat on the ground. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 119 yards. 150 total yards rushing, 200-plus yards through the air. Zay Flowers, 5 catches. The bottom line is the Ravens, they look back. I don't know what back means, but in the AFC North, being back is a big deal right now. The Ravens have won back-to-back games, while the Bengals have won 1 game in the last month and a half. The Baltimore Ravens are tied with the Cincinnati Bengals at 3-5 for second place in the division. And as crazy as that sounds, they're all only 1 game better than the Cleveland Browns. That's how bad this division has been this season. But the difference is Cleveland has been bad because they're bad. Cincinnati's bad because of that defense, but they still have a shot because of that offense. Baltimore's been bad because they've been without Lamar Jackson and their defense has been beat up. But ultimately, there's nothing that Cincinnati could do to get better. Cleveland is who Cleveland is. Pittsburgh is who Pittsburgh is. There's only one team that can really flip the switch and ultimately run away with this division after having only 1 win a month into the season, and that's Baltimore. They're getting healthier defensively. You saw the production from Lamar and company. I mean, they're doing absolutely everything that they can right now, and that was huge as far as I'm concerned last night with that win, because it wasn't just a win. It was the way that they looked doing it. It was just the way that they looked doing it. Real quick, before we continue on, I need to pause 10 seconds for station identification. It's the Justin Kinder Show presented by Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Don't go anywhere. 10 seconds. We'll be right back.
1410 WING AM.
Happy Halloween.
We are Dayton's ESPN radio station.
So with that win that the Ravens got last night, as you guys know, they're now 3-5, tied with the Bengals at 3-5. And this is a big deal because Cincinnati, they're tied with Baltimore, but the one advantage that they have over Baltimore is the fact that, okay, they have 2 of their 3 wins are against AFC North opponents. They beat the Browns in week 1, and then, of course, they beat the Steelers just 2 weeks ago. The Ravens have a win over an AFC North team. That's one of their 3. They beat the Browns back in week 2, of course. But Baltimore still has 2 with the Steelers and 2 with the Bengals and 1 more with the Browns coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So it doesn't get any easier. Now, they did just beat the team that the Bengals have this weekend in the Chicago Bears. The Ravens just beat with their backup quarterback 30-16 the weekend before. The AFC North is messy, man. It's messy. Chad Kinser says Barry Larkin did, but that was a different time. Oh, sorry, that was from earlier about the conversation about greats retiring with the team that they're with. That was a different conversation, nonetheless. But yeah, Chad, you're right. That different sport, but yes, also a different time. I mean, Joey Votto, almost. I mean, if Joey Votto just would have retired that last year in Cincinnati, which he should have because he never returned to any kind of form after that. It didn't work out in Toronto. But yeah, you're right. Well, let's talk about those Bengals. That what this weekend's matchup with the Bears means. We'll talk about that and get the full health report. We have a couple tweets from Jay Morrison that we'll reference. We'll get to all of that and more when we come back. Plus, we'll take a look at the NFL schedule. How big of a weekend is this for the Bengals, the Browns? We're on a bye week. Ravens, Steelers, and more. We have plenty more coming your way. It's the Justin Kinder Show presented by Frickers.